So before you start the video, as a heads up, this is me installing the Modcase. The video, to be honest, is longer than it needs to be. I opened the case 3 times because I forgot something. So some people like to put the video, leave it as a background noise kind of thing. That's why I'm leaving it uncut. There is a portion that I do accelerate. But yeah, I'll still leave a timestamp if you want to jump straight to results, and I'll probably put a chapter as well. But yeah, just so you know, and it's also a great video to listen to accelerated if you feel like doing that instead. I find that even at 2 times the speed, I can hear myself clearly, so I don't see why you would have a problem. And that is pretty much it. So I'll see you on the Modcase installation, or otherwise I'll see you by the results at the end of this video. Hey everyone, Clef here. So today we're gonna work on the ROG ALLY. So I received this Modcase from HandheldDIY, and essentially what it does is it replaces the back panel of the ROG ALLY with a solution that should improve on temperatures and cooling. So the first part of this video is going to be me actually doing the ROG ALLY. I'm hoping to keep it a one cut. They do have a video on their website that lasts about a minute. I might put it up somewhere and just keep it there because it's really short, but it's also extremely accelerated. So I might try to keep the process uncut, untouched. It seems pretty simple. And then once we're done, I already captured temperatures using Furmark 2 on the ROG ALLY. So I took the temperatures from the front, from the back, from the vents, and also the APU, as well as the APU on idle. And by the time we're done, I'm gonna go back, take new temps using this fan, which is something they also sent, or also without it, because when you go to their website to buy this kit, you have different options that you can choose from. Now, of course, the more expensive one is the one with the fan. I will say, so you can just power the fan. I already powered the fan to see what it looks like. I was extremely impressed with what I've seen, because for some reason, I don't know how they do this. There was no thermal paste or anything, but the moment the fan started spinning, the back of it became like extremely cold. Like, I don't understand what the technology is to make it this cold. If you do, let me know in the comment box. And it's just not, fan. It's not just air movement. There's something else at work. What is it? I don't know. I would assume it's probably, the metal composition. We have the fan. So the thing with the fan is, you have this little magnet here. It's a magnet sticker essentially, and you have this sticker, and this sticker is magnetized as well. So, oh, let me try this again. So if I just go, see, so it's really a magnet that holds strong enough for that when you stick it to the back of the Modcase, it's gonna hold. Now the thing is, the back panel, I don't believe has a metal strip, but the Modcase does. And essentially you have RGB in the fan, but I don't think it's addressable, so it just is what it is. And you have a USB-C that is right there. So my understanding will be that we'll run a cable from the ROG ALLY to the USB-C that is there to keep it powered whenever we want. I wish there was a way to power it from inside the case, but I can understand how that would have been a much more serious and invested DIY solution. So I guess they kept it simple, and for the most part, I understand why they would, and I think it's better that way. So here you have the fan. And then here, of course, you have the case. So they have a reminder on top that if you have contact with some back buttons, they have little silicone pads here. And that is what I think is a double face tape. No, maybe not. Oh no, it's actually a back plate that is not, there's nothing written on it, and I'll show you why in a second. So in the box, you have the Modcase. They do provide some tools, but I'll be using mine. But you have a small screwdriver here, and you have this chunk of thermal paste, which we'll be using later on, and then the rest is empty. All right, so let's have a look at the Modcase itself. Now, as you can see here, that's the thing that they have a replacement on the box, so I might use that. Now, one thing, regardless of temperatures, now of course temperatures is, I think, one of the bigger appeal for most people, right? But one thing that I'm extremely interested with is the kickstand. For me, a handheld should have a kickstand. It's unfortunate that the ROG ALLY doesn't. So with this, and it seems quite sturdy, I'm gonna be able to prop it up and stay like that. So I really like the thought of having a kickstand. I saw some people remove it. For sure, I'm keeping mine. And then of course, we'll reinstall the back buttons. So yeah, I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like. So let's put this aside for now. And let's start working on the ROG ALLY. I just wanna make sure it's powered off, is it? Good thing I checked. All right, so now it is. I don't like to work directly on the surface. I'm gonna use this cloth here just to try to prevent damaging anything. And usually I like to actually prop it up with, yeah, you know what, let me use this so that the analogs, because sometimes when I'm, unscrewing things, I can apply a little bit of pressure. So I don't want the analogs to get any unnecessary pressure. So usually I tend to make a piece of paper where I align the screws, like I draw a diagram of the device and just put the screws there. But for now, I'm just gonna lay them down in the position that they would go. Okay, so that's one of those, you see? So it's important to know these things. So this is one of those that stays, I think, in the case. And it would kind of make sense because I don't think I'm seeing one in the... All right, so the other two have been undone, but there you go. Okay, so now they're in front of me. You guys don't see them, but they're in front of me, positioned in the order that they should go. All right, so let's see how we can do this. I have a spudger close, look at that. Yeah, we probably wouldn't need a spudger. It just makes it that much more easier. So now if I remember correctly, we need to remove the shoulder buttons, or maybe just the triggers. Oh, I just opened it, dang. All right. Okay. So from there, we're gonna remove the triggers and we're also gonna remove the back buttons. So I think my screwdriver might be a little too big for the back buttons. Let's find out. Oh no, we're good. Oh, there's a spring. So we just want to apply a little pressure on the notches so that they get out. And then I would assume we can get the button out, can we? There you go. Okay. So that's one button. Spring. Let's see, it goes. Apply a little pressure on the notches. Push it down. Get it out. kind of have to wiggle it a bit. I'm just struggling with the wiggling part, but you know, it's not hard at all. It's just me that doesn't have a steady hand. I never did. I never will. There you go. Okay. So that's the other back button undone, and then the shoulder buttons. I'm just lifting them with my nail here. There you go. I'm done. That was easy. All right. Now I see a lot of little cushioning pads, and I kind of wonder if the HandheldDIY case already have them pre-installed, because otherwise we might have to just take the ones that are here and move them to the other case. We'll find out in a second. I'm almost done here. Okay, so normally that should be it. We should be done with the ROG ALLY back panel as far as I can remember. Let's look at the HandheldDIY one. So we do have the cushioning here. We don't need any there, so we're good. We're absolutely good. Now, I guess we could potentially take these ones, because clearly there seems to be a little bit of pressure applied. So I might get these ones unstuck, and we'll actually see if we can also get rid of the ring to get the screw back here. So let's do that for now before installing the other things. So here there's just this little plastic ring, so we're just gonna manually take it off. Hopefully it doesn't break. Apply a little bit of pressure. All right, I almost got it out. Now the other thing I could do is hold the pressure with my nails like this and unscrew it, and I think that will be a lot easier. Yep, done. We'll just put this here, and no, did I just drop the screw on the ROG ALLY? I did. Oh, there it is. Whew. That was a bit scary. Don't do like me. Don't remove the screw on top of your open ROG ALLY, because otherwise you might hear some kunk, 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 kunk when the fan starts. Okay, so we're done with this. So I'm gonna put this aside for now. And we're gonna start working on this one, but this time around, let me move this to the side. And since we're just working on the panel, I can remove that for now. Okay, so we're gonna start with this here. So the first part was actually putting the button down, which goes like, which goes like, wait, what's the, okay, it goes like this. All right, so we just push it down a little bit, let the notches get in. That one seems to not come in. I mean, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Put the little spring here, then the screw, push it down, screw it, and then there you go. Okay, so the notch that I wasn't able to get, now it's fine. Actually, now it is. Okay, so that should be good enough. Let's do the other side. Goes, I believe the butt goes like this. All right. Okay, I guess don't be scared to push a little bit. That's what it comes down to. Putting the screws on top of the spring and then pushing it down. Oh no. Okay, and that leaves us the 2 shoulder buttons. So shoulder buttons, they kind of went like this, and we have to align. I guess we'll make sure that it's closed, and we align the dots. Yeah, so they have these little notches. Wait, let me show you guys. They have these little notches, the smaller ones, that you can push through a little bit of plastic. So that aligns you perfectly to do the screwing part. So we're gonna do that. You know, I put on those gloves so I don't put fingerprints on screens, but right now it's making things harder. I'm just gonna remove it. And the 1, and the 2. Let's do the other side. So again, we push it here, we align with the notches. Push it down a little bit, should be perfectly aligned. Yes, it is. Oh. Actually, yeah, you want to make sure the button is closed. Let's align it. There we go. Jeez Louise. Yeah, let me make sure it's closed. And this time I'm going to keep my finger on it. So first screw. I think my screwdriver is magnetized, is it not? The magnet is not that strong. And the spring keeps pushing back on this one. Oh, I guess, you know what? Now that I look at the other one, I didn't install it properly either. Boo. Okay, so let me do this one proper. Now the screw is indeed locked in. So you really want to push it down, and then as I'm holding it, I'm gonna put the first screw. So that should, oh my Lord. The magnet from the trigger is overpowering the one from my screwdriver. Okay, so let's do this again. Now this is not hard. You just need a little bit of patience. There you go. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to show you guys. Where's my other screw? I lost the screw. And this installation is a mess. I'm a mess. Alright, well, I can't seem to find the screw that I'm missing here. So I guess for now I'm gonna continue, but yeah, don't do like me, put them in little containers. I'm pretty sure it rolled off. Where did it roll off to? I don't know. But I'm probably gonna find it after I'm done with the video, and then I'll just install it. It shouldn't be hard anyways by the time that I find it. So let's just continue. Now before we go on, because I'm trying to not do this, you know, more than once, although now I kind of have to, I'm just gonna go and install those silicone pads on the contacts, which according to this is that contact right there. So I would assume that what can happen is because of the metal shield, maybe there's a bit of interference. I'm not gonna take any chances. Oh, okay, so I guess there's one for each. Okay, so we're gonna do each buttons. This way it'll be done. Now I don't have my tools close, otherwise I would probably use a little I can't remember the word. And another one on the other button. Now it doesn't seem to impact the clicking at all, but if ever it does, I'll just remove them. Okay, now the other thing, which I won't be doing for now, but you could remove this HandheldDIY and put that instead, which that I believe is an extra $4. So, you know, with that plate, you could put your own name, you could put a sticker, whichever you want. You could probably put a sticker over that as well, but you know, if you want one that is blank so that you can make your own, they do sell it. Okay, so now all we have to do, of course, is to align it, snap it as such. Just make sure we go around. Everything is snapped. I gotta say, I don't like the sensation of the buttons. That one is fine, but the other one I find is dampened a bit too much. You know what? For now, I'm just gonna install it with it, but yeah, I might remove them at a later time. We'll see. Oh, I forgot something. So very important. Now, the Modcase does give you cooling capabilities, right? Beyond giving you the kickstand and, you know, the cool see-through color, if that's what you go for. They have different options. I believe they have purple, see-through white. I think they have see-through black as well. So yeah, you have different options. Now the other thing, as we said, is cooling, but I almost forgot, you need to apply that big lob of thermal conductor paste, almost like a jelly, really. Okay, I'm just gonna be careful here. I'm just gonna put this here. So we want to apply it right down the middle. Now the other thing we can do is, rather than applying it here, we can just apply it in the back of our case. This way we know we are aligned. So you really want to apply it right there. Now, you know what, I'm gonna split it open like this. I want to try to touch it as little as possible. So with this, I can just properly align it like so, and then just pull the bag out. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. And then we just smush it like so. Now all that's left, of course, is for me to put the screws back. Now I could have actually, I should have. And before we install the back panel, I'm also going to install the little plastic tab with the screw, the bottom middle one. Alright, so by the way, they do include screws for your case in the kit. I just reuse the ones I have because every time I do one of those videos, I always explain the reason why. The reason why is pretty simple. Most of the time, and you know, I appreciate that they give screws, but most of the time, the manufacturer will use better quality screws, because if they have to service the device, they don't want to have stripping screws. Whereas a third party, you know, giving you screws as a, you know, a feature or a solution, I feel like the quality is never the same. So I'm just holding the little plastic tab while I'm screwing it in. This way it goes a little deeper, like so. And I'm just gonna apply another type of pressure, like this, and screw it just a little bit more. And we're good. So now this screw can't get out. Just like the other one before it, but just like it was on the other case. So we just snap everything back into place. All right, now that everything is snapped in, let's make sure the shoulders buttons do fine, and the back paddles, they both do. All right. So we're gonna start with screwing this one since, you know, it's already there. There we go. And now we're gonna do the other 5. All right, so with this now done, I'm gonna go ahead and do some benchmarking and get back to you with some results. But as you can see here, everything holds up, it looks nice. And yeah, let's move on to the performance. All right, so first and foremost, the screw. It actually got cut in the magnet of the shoulder trigger. So you may want to look out for that if that happens to you. When it comes to the pads that I kind of mentioned during the video that were originally on the ROG ALLY case, I did remove them. So just use a hair dryer. It was super easy. It took me no more than a minute. You know, just heat it up, get it unstuck, and stick it in the Modcase. Super simple, and it adds a little bit of pressure on the battery. Now I'm not sure exactly what the purpose is for that, but you know, I would leave it as is so that you don't run into any issues. Let's talk about what I did for the benchmark before getting into the numbers. Essentially, I really wanted to stress the device as much as I possibly could, so I went 30 watt. Everything you see here, the device was on 30 watt, including for idle. Of course, it's not gonna idle using all that wattage. However, it was set at 30 watts, so you know, it did the absolute most that it should and the parameters that it was set on. So let's start with the front. Now, of course, I didn't expect much of a result, and that's essentially what it is here. The Modcase versus without is pretty much the same. You see a small difference with the case and the fan, but I don't think it's the actual panel. You know, ultimately what I wanted to get here is that it doesn't change anything. Okay, moving on to the vents. Now the vents, as you can see, there is a tremendous difference. We essentially go from 59 all the way down to 46 with the fan, but even without, you still have a 5-degree difference. Now, of course, for me, what it tells me is that the air inside of the case does get lower using the Modcase, and this is exactly what we want. This is the goal, for your fans to not run as high if they don't need, or for the overall temperature of your APU and everything that's in there to be as lowest as possible. When moving to the back, there is not really much of a difference except when using the fan. The fan obviously draws a lot of air out, but the fan is also very cold. Like I showed you at the very beginning during the introduction of the installation. I think I showed a few videos. The fan really drops the temperature. It's pretty drastic how efficient it is. And then moving on to, last but not least, the actual APU. And once again, we can observe a difference. We go from 72 to 69, and then from 69 to 64. So clearly the Modcase is bringing us better temps, and so does the fan. Now, the interesting part, and that I was like, no, I must have done something wrong. So I actually undid everything to test it again. But there's probably a reason here. You can see that my stock temperature on idle, I was at 30 watt, mind you, but nonetheless, was at 63 Celsius. So you know what? I'm starting to think that maybe the pressure on the APU wasn't optimal, because this is such a huge difference when using the Modcase. Like, we're going from 63 to 39, and when using the fan, it managed to drop. And I'm not saying I just recorded the lowest number possible. I waited there for, I want to say, a good 5 minutes for me to capture that temperature, and with the fan it went down even more. So I would assume that that little silicone pad does not only absorb heat, it might actually improve the pressure on the heatsink of the APU. Now I'm just guesstimating here, but the numbers were just so drastic that I thought, wait, something is wrong. But no, it turns out these are the right numbers. And this is pretty much it for when it comes to performance. Now there is, when talking about the fan specifically, because especially right now, I believe they have a sale. I don't have the numbers up, but I'll probably put them up. When looking at the fan, it is considerably more expensive. So the question becomes, should you invest in the fan? Clearly it shows performance, but there are a few drawbacks, right? So in terms of temperatures, it's a great add-on to add to your ROG ALLY, that's for sure. when it comes to the overall packaging and what it offers, I don't expect to get more FPS out of having the fan. I do expect having potentially a longer longevity to the device, having my fans run a little lower, having my temps be better. I do expect all that. But there are two very important things that you have to keep in mind. Number one, you have to power the fan. And using the ROG ALLY to power the fan, we're talking about between a 7 to 8 watt extra that you're pulling out of your battery of the ROG ALLY. So while yes, you are getting better temperatures, you will impact your battery life by a considerable amount. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, the other thing is, again, it helps the temps, but it also increases the decibels overall. I haven't measured them, but I can say that the ROG ALLY running at the loudest versus the fan, which is actually not that loud to be honest, but still you hear it. I'd say it's about on par. So you double that, it increases the overall noise. So if this is something you're concerned about, you may want to keep that in mind. Now, I feel like the fan would be better suited for someone who mostly plays at home and has either other means to power it or, you know, doesn't really care about battery, because there is a solution to the issue that we were talking about, which I'll address in a second. Now, the other thing, when I received the Modcase, there was a Apple Watch bracelet. So I thought, hey, did they put that in by mistake? But then I realized, looking at their website, it's actually a feature. So behind the, I should say on top and under of the kickstand, you can actually put an Apple Watch bracelet in there so that you have a battery attached to your case. And that one is an amazing feature, but I'm using the bracelet for my actual watch because I had to change it anyways. I think it's a great feature, but there are really two things you can do with that. Of course, having a battery to charge your ROG ALLY more efficiently when you're out and about. Now, the other thing you could do, rather than putting a battery bank, is to actually put a block where you have two USB-Cs out, one for the fan and one to power your ROG ALLY. Because the fan, again, there's no addressable features as far as I'm concerned. It's just power. It's just, you know, it's just drawing power and it's doing what it's supposed to do. It runs steady. There's no button to change the speed or anything like that. So if you use a block to supply power to your fan, you'll get the benefits, but you will no longer impact your battery. Of course, that wouldn't matter, you know, if you're at home, but if you're out and about, then that's a different thing altogether. But with that, you could also use that as a mean to power your ALLY to 30 watt when you're, you know, just tethered through a cable to the wall, but still playing in handheld fashion. I think that's a great feature. I think that's actually, you know, very clever. Is it the most important feature out of the Modcase? Absolutely not, but it's a nice addition, which you could just never think of taking advantage of. But if you do, it does give you more capabilities in terms of how much you're going to push your device and how little impact it's going to have on it. And so that is pretty much it. The last question for me to answer, would I recommend the Modcase? Absolutely. Like, if you have a ROG ALLY and you're not on the website trying to buy the Modcase, you need to do that the moment you end this video. But that is specifically for the Modcase. If we're talking about the Modcase and the fan, that's where it gets, I'm a little more conflicted. Personally, for me, the fan makes a lot of sense. But if I was someone that was concerned with battery life, if I was someone that actually, you know, used it out of my house a lot, I would say don't get it. For someone who plays mostly at home, you know, maybe you travel with it every once in a while, that goes without saying. But if for the most part you play at home, then I do believe the fan is a great addition. I don't believe that the return on investment is as good as the Modcase itself, but nonetheless, it's something nice to have. So if you have the dispensable income to, you know, throw at that, I would get it, because you already have it at this point. You don't want to, you know, think later on, oh, I should have gotten the fan. But that's the way I look at things, right? I'm the kind of guy that will go for these extra features because I don't want to find myself later on thinking I should have got it. But, you know, that's FOMO. We shouldn't act on FOMO. I need to work on that. Maybe you need to work on that as well. You know better than I do, of course. And that is pretty much it for me, guys. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you, HandheldDIY, for sending me the case for review. And it's an amazing product. I'm actually quite surprised. It feels great. Of course, it looks the part as well. That goes without saying. I mean, see-through purple. You can't really do much better than that as far as I'm concerned. And so that's pretty much it. So I'll see you on the next one, and thanks for watching. Peace.